Hello, guys, and welcome back to another Euro 2024 fantasy. It's getting harder and harder to say that when you have been used to saying welcome to another FPO video. But yeah, this is Euro 2024, and we have some new rules. As you know, the chips strategies are very different in the Euro Fantasy, as we don't have triple captain, we don't have a bench boost, we have sort of a free hit, and the wild card is the same. So today, as a casual player of the Euro 2024 fantasy game, I wouldn't be investing so much time in researching or something like that. So basically, all of you casuals, I know that you may prefer to watch more guys involved in a fantasy game and just get them. But this is a fun way to see someone who has been creating content and who has been knowing the fantasy world as a whole, see how he uses his chips. I'm going to prepare the best strategy, in my opinion, to cover the chips and to be ready for anything. I will be giving you how I will see and how I will prefer to use the chips, and most probably what my strategy will look like. Don't worry, this strategy can change during the Euros. I will tell you if it does, but for now, I will prepare it for my liking. So let's start with the fixtures. So the Euro is split up in two phases. You begin with a free transfer, unlimited free transfers before the start. Then you have 3 weeks of match days basically in the groups. Then you have another reshuffle of your side with free transfers. So basically, you split the game in two sections: the first three games and the last. How many were there? And the last four. So yeah, 4 stages. The first 3 stages, you'll be well prepared. First of all, because you know all the fixtures, and second of all, because you know all the favorites. The second phase of the game, it's a little bit different, but still you have enough transfers to maneuver around the sides and to prepare for what is coming your way. Now, let's see how the transfers are going there. Before tournament starts, you have unlimited transfers. That is okay. That's how it should work. During the group stage, you have two per match day. So you have two before match day 2 and two before match day 3. So that's not a lot of transfers to prepare your team, but still more than enough. Before the round of 16, as I already said, you have basically another wild card, which is unlimited transfers. And then you have 3, 4, and 5. So the most vulnerable weekends, in my opinion, if we decide to split them, is before game week 3 and before the quarterfinals. Hear me out. Before game week before game week 1, you have all the required information. Because before game week 2, you will be most probably prepared in advance for that, and you know who will be advancing and who not. Basically, here we need 16 teams to advance. We have 6 groups. So basically, the if you get 2 wins, you're through. If you don't, you have to fight it. So better teams such as England, Germany, France, Portugal, most probably they will get 2 wins, and they will be advanced. So that wouldn't mean that they will need to rest, but they can rest some of their players. So before game week 3, you don't know who has been advanced. You don't know some hidden gems in the fantasy world that appear, and you don't know injuries or something like that. So before game week 3, you are at a very vulnerable position because rotations can happen and because you won't have enough transfers to adapt for the teams that need to fight for the upcoming stage. For example, let's see the groups. Can we see them? Yes, here we can see the groups. Okay, so for example, in this group, let's say Germany wins their first 2 fixtures, and Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland, one of those sides will take second position, and they will need to fight for that second position or even for the third, as they will be advancing with the 4 best sides finishing third. So they will need to fight even for a draw or something like that. So if you stacked your team with players from Belgium, Germany, Portugal, England, even France and Netherlands, who face against each other, by the way. Whoever of those two sides beats gets the 6 points, it will be interesting to target them in match day 3. But nonetheless, if you have Belgium, Germany, and Portugal and England stacked up in your squad, and now you need to transfer them out, it will be difficult with only 2 free transfers. Even if you save some transfers, 3 transfers, it's not enough in my opinion. That's the one point that I will be using the chip before match day 3, but I will get to in a minute which chip I'm going to use. Before round of 16, you will get your basically wild card, so you will be well prepared. So that's okay. But you have 8 matches. From those 8 matches, yeah, there are some heavy favorites and you can prepare in advance, but you can struggle with some of them, and maybe you're not well prepared for that. That means that after the round of 16 becomes the quarterfinals. Let's say there are 3 surprises even, and you stacked up to it. Let's say Germany go out and you stacked with 4 players of their team, and yeah, you can put them on the bench, but still you need to transfer them out going further. And I believe the best time to do so is before the quarterfinals. You still have only 3 free transfers to adapt your side, which is not enough if there are any surprises. So basically you'll be betting that all the favorites will continue and go next to the quarterfinals, which may happen, but nonetheless some injuries may happen and some things may occur. From those 8 teams that you'll be investing for your before the quarterfinals, then you have to keep from 4 sides. So you have 4 players to transfer. Let's say you split the quarterfinals basically for 2 players from a side. So that means 8 teams, 16 players. It's so one side, the worst side, you have 1 player on the bench basically. Let's say the worst case scenario, you have 7 players on the bench. If all the things go out of your way, you still have 7 players with 4 transfers. You can prepare a proper starting 11. That means if all the heavy favorites leave the quarterfinals, and before the final, you have 11 players for sure playing. And from those semifinals, let's say you have 5 players advancing at the worst stage. You have 5 transfers to make, so you have 10 to 11 players even if something happens. So the next weakest point is before the quarterfinals. So the way I'm going to do my strategy is I'm going to activate one of the chips before match day 3, and I'm going to activate another chip after round of 16 and before the quarterfinals. So before round of 16 and basically before match day 3, I will activate my limitless chip. If you don't know what limitless is a chip where you can change your squad for one match day only, which is great. You get unlimited free transfers for that match day with no budget restrictions. That's another thing that's great, because you can target the most expensive players from the teams that need result, which is okay and it's a good thing. Then your squad will return to how it was, and after it returns, you can activate the unlimited transfer rule and you can get rid of all of the players that are gone from your game week 1 and 2 squads, and you can be good to go. Then in game week, not game week, I keep saying game week, but before the round of 16, you use the unlimited chips. And before the quarterfinals, you activate your second wild card. This way, you adapt your team to the best possible team coming to the quarterfinal, and then you'll be preparing for the semifinals nonetheless. I believe that quarterfinals and semifinals will have no more than most of the teams that are favorites advance. And with all the heavy favorites advancing from quarterfinals, then to semifinals, and then to the final, you properly address the issues you have in your side, and you can get the best players for your team. You will find some cheap gems along the way, and you will find the best players. So for me, that is the best strategy. I have some alternative strategy for the most guys that don't want to follow the game through all of the 7 weeks, but only fire quickly and get up ahead. It's a blitz strategy of some sort. So you prepare for game week 1 with your team. You prepare for game week 2 with a limitless or wildcard chip. It doesn't matter which you use. And then for game week 3 or match day 3, you use the other. And then for the best of 16 round, you have another wild card. So basically 4 weeks in a row, you are using the best team, the best team, the best team, the best team, the best team. That strategy is going to move you up the ranks heavily. If you get your team in game week 1 and game week 2 to play the way you want to play, you won't need to use a chip for game week 2. So basically you see here you have some tough fixtures for Denmark, for France, for Netherlands, for Hungary, for Italy even, for Romania if you want to invest in them. Spain has a tough fixture in game week 2, but an okay fixture in game week 3. So yeah, you have a lot of fixtures. Turkey is bad in game week 2, so it's tough to prepare for game week 1 and game week 2. Let's call them game weeks. Match day is so difficult for me. Game week 1 and game week 2, etc., etc., etc. So it's going to be a game week. It's so difficult to prepare for the 3 of them together. It's very tough to prepare for 2. So the best way is to prepare for the first one. Just invest in Belgium, Germany, Portugal, England, Denmark, France, and Netherlands. Maybe in Italy as well, and you are good to go. And then in game week 2, you will use the chip you want. You can prepare for Croatia's fixtures, Portugal, Germany, Romania, but you still own some of the better players. You won't want to sell Mbappe, let's say, or if you own Harry Kane or someone like that. For me, it's pretty tough to go that way, and I don't see a usage of game week 2, but that's the blitz strategy I was discussing. Game week 1, unlimited transfers. Game week 2, unlimited. Game week 3, unlimited. Round of 16, unlimited. So 4 weeks of unlimited. And if you are annoyed by the game, you can leave it if you haven't advanced. But so if you know in game week round of the quarterfinals, basically it will be very tough for you to prepare properly if there are some surprises in the round of 16. If there aren't, you're good to go and you'll be great. So mine is the more conservative strategy, but you can attack the blitz strategy. I see other people on social media discussing both of the strategies, so conservative and blitz, aggressive to say. For me, my style of play is more the conservative way. I don't see an issue of falling a little bit behind and then tackling the fixtures as the season goes on and give me most of the weapons. So you say, why don't you use the transfers in group stage and then only chips before round of 16, before quarterfinals, and before semifinals to have new team like that? Because I don't need to. I don't see a point, basically. So before quarterfinals, you can use the limitless, and before semifinals, the wild card. You'll be set up for the final with those transfers. That's another way to do it. If your team is properly set up from match day 1 up until the group stage, you can do that. But for me, there is no use of that. For me, the only wildcard game week of a game weeks with some unpredicted lineups is going to be the last match day 3 in group stage, because most of the teams will be qualified and some will need to fight for qualification, and you need to see how they are performing and etc. So for me, the best possible week to use a chip is match day 3, and the other, it's up to you, either before match day 2 or before quarterfinals or even before semis. If you have prepared from round of 16 okay and your team is there, you can just tweak it for semifinals a little bit and completely. So that's the strategy. But for me, match day 3 limitless chip is going to be the way to go, or wildcard if you want to use it, but I don't see a reason to use it then, because it's only for 1 week and you're after that using again a wildcard. So limitless before match day 3 is for me for sure. I need to decide before quarters or before semis I'm going to use my wildcard, but that will depend on the results. Seeing, do we have the bracket? The possible bracket, let's see. Euro 2024 possible bracket. Do we have? Yes, so if all groups finish to EO rankings, so on round of 16, you have Spain and Germany in quarterfinal properly, probably Netherlands and Portugal here, England and Croatia with France, and here you don't know who. So this will be an ideal place to invest in. Maybe there is going to be a surprise in the Portugal game, maybe in the Croatian game, maybe in some of the other favorites, but quarterfinals will be hard to predict. So that's why I will go and save the chip for then. I believe that wraps it up for the chips. I hope you enjoy such an outstanding view because I'm not watching content creators. This team, I built it on my own. I will need to make some alternation because I don't see it good for match day 1. I will prepare it probably for match day 1 and 2, and I will have my reserves for that games. I will need to address some issues. I will need to address some players that I'm missing, but that will be coming in a future video. So if you want to see casual Euro 2024 fantasy content creator who is just embracing the game and talking to you of his point of view, subscribe, like, do all of those great stuff. You can comment with questions. You can do whatever you feel like doing. I hope you're having fun with that fantasy game. It's a bit of a summer break preparation before the FPL season starts. You can tune in for that. I hope you enjoy it. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.